And we are recording live now on Thursday, May 6th from my shop. So yeah, I'm gonna do some major remodeling here in the shop in the next week or two or three. So my wife has also informed me that I need to start working on the house before the termites carry it away. So something I'm not looking forward to is getting the house tented and then repainting the house.
I don't think so. Just
And all kinds of stuff like that. So anyway,
Hey, Ralph, you can expect to wait about 6 months for tinting.
oh, really?
Yeah, that's what we're having it done, and they say they can't get to it for 6 months.
So they're 6 months out, huh?
This company, I don't know about others, but this one, yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting to know. I guess, I think it'll still be standing after 6 months. I hope, I don't know.
Just get a bunch of those bonds that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, I read somewhere, I don't know if I told you guys this, I saw this somewhere where some guys put a tent, they just went and got tarps and made their own tent over the house and backed up a big 2-ton truck and hooked the exhaust up to a hose and ran the hose in there and just, you know, gassed the house with exhaust fumes. So I don't know how well it worked, but you know, it's carbon monoxide. Maybe it killed everything. I don't know. Probably made
That's
the house
crazy.
smell like hell. So anyway, I can do some more of this, or I can just start afresh and do a little finial. So I guess anybody got any choice, input on that? Or we can all go home. Okay, no input. All right, well, I'm gonna do a little finial then. I've got a piece mounted up here between centers. See how that, yeah, you can see that little piece of maple mounted up between centers. And we'll spin that up, make it round, and try and make a little fine finial. I see a lot of, you know, for you guys, I know you guys that are on Facebook, see a lot of these guys posting pictures of these guys that make finials, and because I'm trying to be nice, I keep my mouth shut when they post these pictures of these finials that look like a damn tree growing out of the top of a little vessel. They're just like way, way out of proportion, super, super heavy. So see if we can make a.
Ralph, how big is that piece that you have over there?
This piece of wood is 7 inches long, and it is approximately 1.5 inches square, 1.5 inches by 1 3/4. This is a
Okay.
piece of butcher block countertop that I took this, you know, it started delaminating. These are strips that butcher block was made out of. Because you
Okay.
can see right there, those damn termites. I can't understand why I got them in the house. So,
Maybe you should have a wood sale.
a wood for free, maybe, huh?
There you go.
Well, you know what I got over here.
Yep.
You've been over here. I don't know. I mean, just for fun. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm going to turn the other camera on. I'm going to turn that camera around 180 degrees, looking out the front door of my shop.
Whoa,
Now that's just one wood pile.
whoa,
I've got another one behind that little shed that you're looking at, which is in the front side of the fence. That's almost as big. And then I've got another one over in that direction that you can't see. But anyway, so there's the big green cake mixer.
Yep.
And there's the old welding machine. And
But the color, a lot of the color of the wood is like black and gray. It's been there a few years.
yes, it
That's
has.
what-
All that wood has been there for a while now. This is the nice thing about this wood. It looks, just from looking at it, it looks like crap. Okay, but you go out there and take a chainsaw and cut into it, and most of it, especially the mahogany,
Oh,
will look like brand new wood. Only, the outer edge is crappy. So it's on my list of things to do, is to clean that pile up.
But let me ask you this, Ralph, not to give you a hard time, but the wood that you have sitting out there, you don't treat the ends, do you?
Nope.
So
Nope.
you think that would make a difference? Treating the ends, I mean wax or paint or whatever.
It'll slow down the surface checking on the ends.
Right?
Depends on what species it is. The mahogany, you can get away with murder. You can just throw it out there in the yard and leave it. And this piece, where the hell is it?
But while you're getting it, I had a piece of mahogany that I went to get the other day. I was going to cut it up. It was like 12-inch diameter by 12 inches long.
Right.
And the bark was just like disintegrating. So when I picked it up, I could just rip the bark off by hand, and all kind of bugs and worms got into it. It was they just tore it up. They got inside the bark. They didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if the ends were checked or not or treated. They just get into that bark and they get into it that way.
Yeah, but when you cut the wood up, what did it look like?
It was there were some places where there was big holes in it.
Okay, well, that's some of the monster. They look like a tunnel boring machine.
Yeah.
Arms.
Well, one piece of wood I have today was just one piece I did salvage from it, but from that 12 by 12, one, maybe a couple small pieces was all I could salvage.
All right, well, this piece that I did a couple months ago or months ago, whenever it was, I did that offset bowl. When you see the color of that,
Yeah.
that came from that pile. This was cut down, this piece of wood. It's got some spalting right here.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's where the sapwood was. It's got a couple of little bug holes. But other than that, this is the color of the wood, cut with no finish on it. And then all this has is some linseed oil on it, which gave it a little, brought the red. But that piece of wood was cut. That was salvaged from Irma in 2017. And it's been sitting out here in the weather since 2017.
mm,
And I just take my saw and whack it up, and what's no good goes in the fire pile, and what's good hopefully comes out, turns out to be something good. So
All I'm trying to say here is the piece I had, it's funny, was from 2017 also.
right.
But it's just that the bark was, when I picked it up, the bark was just, I could just tear it off.
Oh yeah, well, a lot of the stuff I've got out there, the bark is actually falling off by itself.
Right, exactly.
It's just falling away from the wood. And some of it, depending on how it sits, I've got some sitting vertical and some sitting horizontal.
Right.
And some of it, the sapwood is rotten, totally punky. You can just pick it away with your hands. Okay, but you get down into the heartwood and it's still good wood with good color and solid. So, you know, but a lot of people would say, oh my God, that's a bunch of junk. Just take it all and put it in the dump. But there's lots and lots of good wood in that pile. That's what I keep telling my wife anyway. So anyway, let's spin this thing up a little bit. And let me go back to the overhead, see if that works any better for a minute. And we'll spin it up and see what we can make a skinny finial. About 1700 RPM, and I'm going to use a 3/4 spindle roughing gouge. Hopefully it's sharp. Of course, safety says always, you know, shut your machine off when you're moving your tool around. I'm feeling something there. I don't know if you can hear that. Got a feeling we got bug trails in here. Yep,
Yep.
right there. So, oh, this whole end is rotten. Well, let's see if we can still do something with it. So, let's come down here and make a tenon on this end and grab it with a chuck. Now, obviously, that's too small to fit in this chuck that I've got on here, so I'm going to use my small chuck. If you don't have a small chuck, you can get jaws for these, I guess, normal size chucks. You can get pin jaws, okay, which you can grab smaller stuff. That's one way to do it. Another way, if you don't want to buy those jaws, would be to take a scrap piece of wood that will fit in the bigger jaws and go ahead and drill a mortise in it, drill a hole in here. Okay, this is just a nubbin, but anyway, drill a hole in this piece of wood and make a little tenon to fit that hole, and then just glue this into a waste block that'll fit in your chuck. And that way you don't have to start with such a big piece of wood. You know, if you've only got a small piece of wood to make a finial, you know, like a little piece of blackwood or something, but you don't have the jaws to hold it, you can glue it to a waste block to hold it. So, you know, there's lots of ways around it. Okay, there it is. Putting a little chuck on here. These are the ones I got from Craft Supply. They're, I guess, 2.5 inch diameter. Come with a direct 1/8 thread on them, and I think you get a bushing to reduce it down to a 3/4 16. And they come with about 4 different sets of jaws and a nice plastic box. They're quite handy for doing little stuff. Now that's real interesting. They wiggle around like crazy. Oh, that's why. Good to push it up with your tailstock. When I was holding it, I kind of cocked it without realizing it. Now you can snug it up good. Look much better running through now. So, bring this up. Get a lot of this waste wood out of here with the spindle roughing gouge still. Well, I think we got past the bugs. So. gonna switch to a 1/2 inch spindle gouge, and I grind mine kind of pointy with a 40-degree level angle on it. And then I cut back the heel some. This one needs to be reworked to remove some more of this heel material. But okay, so let's make a little detail here. Let's refine this point. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Let's try something here. See if this makes it any better.
That makes the wood look washed out.
Mm-hmm.
That's worse?
Yes.
You actually need something light underneath it to make the wood look darker.
That work?
Yeah, that looks better.
Yes.
I actually see it now.
All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get this tail, let me get this off of here and get this tailstock out of the way and drop my tool right just a hair.
Hey, Ralph, I don't know if it's an optical illusion, but it's almost looking like you're cutting from the top of the wood, not from the face of it.
From the top.
Like it looks like your tool's riding on the top of the wood rather than coming to the face of it.
I'm cutting high.
Okay, all right.
I'm just above center with the tool, with cutting.
This is with your 40-degree spindle gouge, not the 33 that you usually use.
That? Ooh, looks like we're gonna have a lightning show here tonight. Let's get this tail.
It's starting to lightning over here real bad.
Yep.
There is an alert in Miami. There's an alert in Kendall that, so be careful out there.
So
You got some thunder here in Kendall, and lightning.
Yeah, it's raining, thunder. I'm gonna stay inside.
all right, so I'm gonna use my finger to support this. speed this up a little bit. I shouldn't be out here, but I'm gonna try this. Clean that up just a little bit more. Break it right off.
Oh,
So that's why you start with a long piece of wood, so you can start over again. Let me look at that. See why it broke. It just broke because I was a dummy and did what I shouldn't have done. Went out there where I should have been already finished with it. what I'm doing, I'm using the wing here of the gouge. And I'm cutting back using that edge, so it's cutting almost like a skew. With support from your finger. You gotta pick up the cut though. All right, that's skinny enough. Don't do that. I want to move the other camera. Let me see if we can get a better shot. Not sure if I can do this or not. You guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Better like that?
I don't know, the other view I think was better.
if that's any better or worse. Here come the rain. All right, I gotta go close one of my doors. All right, we're gonna do a little more here.
Hey, Ralph,
Yes,
starting to rain over here too,
I bet it is.
and it's getting really dark.
Well, it's because it's nighttime.
No, I'm talking about the clouds.
Yeah, I know. I'm
I can
looking.
see
I'm
it.
looking straight towards your house out of the front of my shop.
Ralph, what speed are you turning?
Right about 1800.
Thank you.
I had bumped it up to a little over 2000, and it wasn't cutting right. It was too fast. Now this tool is also getting dull. So at this point, you should stop and sharpen or pick up another sharp tool. Once, you know, when you feel it starting to get dull, it's past the point of time to sharpen. Let me go back over that on this and you get a better perspective of what I'm doing. Okay, so at this point, what you're going to do, if you're going to be putting this on a lid for a vessel or box, then you need to, make this bottom piece where it's going to blend in with the shape of your lid, and then put a tenon on the bottom of it, obviously to fit a hole that you're going to make in your lid. And then normally what I do is I would glue this into the lid and blend them together, which I'm not going to do, but I'm going to go ahead and part this thing off. Put a little curve here. Got a little shear scrape if you can't get it quite right. Now come in here. Okay, this is a homemade. This is an old Craftsman, one of the old Craftsman's tools that I repurposed the end. And I made it into like a kind of like a combination parting bedan tool. So you want to make your tenon, whatever, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a little open end wrench and use it as a gauge to make a tenon, 1/4 inch, 5/6 feet, whatever I want to make. You can see that in there. So then what we do is we part it off. I'm going to leave this a little fat. I'll take my other parting tool, my thin parting tool. This is 1/16 of an inch thick. I'll carefully get a hold of this, support it, and then I'll just part this off. And on this inside of this piece here, on the bottom of your piece where it sits against the lid, you want to slightly concave that, very slight, so that the outer edge hits the lid. that's it. Obviously, you could make these, shorter. You can make it a lot longer. You really want to see some really good ones. Look up Cindy Drozda. She's famous for her finials.
Thanks, Ralph. That was very good.
So that's all I got, along with the rain.
Hey Ralph, quick question about the finial.
You have to speak up.
Sorry. I got a quick question about the finial. How do you go about sanding that? Do you sand it at the end or do you sand as you progress?
Don't sand it. This
Oh,
doesn't, I mean, if you're gonna sand it, yeah, you need to sand it as you go, because you can't go back. Okay, but depending on the kind of wood, how sharp your tool is, and how good your tool control is, you don't need to sand it. This actually has a pretty good finish, right off the tool, and it would be better if I had a sharper tool.
Ralph, was that gouge sharpened to the regular angle, or was it sharper than, like it was it Drozda's sharpening? How'd you sharpen the gouge?
The gouge is sharpen it with the Wolverine, and I've got 3 of them here. They're very similar. Let me switch cameras here. Show you those. Good. All right, so this is a 1/2 inch one, and I've got it cut back. I don't know if you can see that.
I can.
Okay, so what I do is that's the 1/2 inch. And I've got a couple of 3/8. One's a little more pointy than the other, not much. They pretty much look the same. Okay, and they're all basically ground the same way. So what I do is I'll put them in the berry grind, the Wolverine berry grind, and I'll set my arm with the Raptor setup gauge. And normally what I do is I start with the 35-degree gauge, and I'll sharpen the whole thing to 35 degrees. And then you can put a little spacer block in the arm, or you can do it by hand. Okay, and the V arm, where your berry grind goes here in the corner to pocket. If you put a spacer block and move the berry grind forward, then what you'll be doing is removing metal from the heel of the tool.
Right.
Okay.
Did you hone the inside surface?
No, I never have. Maybe I should. It might cut a little better. There's a lot of guys hone them, and a lot of guys just take them straight off the grinder. I do after I get everything at 35 and the heel cut back. Then I'll come back and just touch the edge with 40 degrees, because it makes the tool a little bit more controllable. You can cut them back, you can grind them even more severe angle, but the steeper the angle, the more aggressive they get. And, they can get away from you if you're not paying attention. So I've got a couple of others here. This one's a detail gouge. That's a 5/16, 6 millimeter bar stock, or actually a little more than 6 millimeters, 5/16, I believe, bar stock. I don't know if you can see that. That one's kind of pointy. This one's a P&N tool I got from Packard that's been brought in from Australia. I don't think they're in business anymore. And if they are, you can't afford the damn freight to get them over here from Australia. So, so yeah, that's how I do the gouges. And then this tool here, like I said, this was an old Craftsman, one of the old Craftsman sets that a lot of us had. And they're good to pick up from yard sales because you can make, you know, different tools out of them. This one, I just ground it way back like that. And it mimics somewhat mimics a bidan. Okay, except that it's square-sided, straight-sided instead of this one, which is, let's see, it's slanted. I forget the exact mathematical or name for this shape.
Trapezoidal.
Trapezoidal.
That sounds about right. One of those.
Hey, Ralph.
One of those
Hey,
fancy
Ralph.
math words. Yeah.
If everybody when they go to the yard sales, if they see the Craftsman tools with the brown handles, darker brown handles, those are the high-speed ones. And if you can buy them for, you know, a couple bucks, it's a good bargain.
Sometimes some people think they're made out of gold.
Say it again.
I say sometimes you can get them for $5. You know, I'll buy these all day long for $5 or $6.
Yeah.
But some people think they're made out of gold. Kind of like that. Kind of like that. That email I sent out yesterday. I think it was, wasn't it? With that lathe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
A $2,000 lathe.
yeah, the $2,000 lathe. I would think it was made out of solid gold at that price.
Hey, Ralph?
Yeah.
Ralph, can you grab your I'm sorry, the Verigrind, that V bar that you put in there? Can you
Yeah.
pick that up for a minute? All right, what I did, just a thought here, what Ralph was talking about, what I did is I got a piece of 1-inch square wood. It happened to be a pin blank, but it doesn't matter. 1-inch square, 1 inch long. And what I did is I drilled a hole in the bottom just big enough for earth magnet. So what I do there, and that's the spacer block I put in there. And the reason for the magnet is I just take that spacer block and put it on my grinder, because whenever I had that piece of wood in there, it always would disappear. By putting that magnet in there, it holds in place there. Plus you put it on your grinder and you always find it.
Excellent, excellent idea. Thank you, Dave. And you can make varying sizes.
Yeah, exactly. But
There's
that,
a
I
guy
thought,
that makes an attachment to be used with the Wolverine. I can't remember his name, but what he has a plate that has a series of holes, you know, spaced out, that you put the bottom of the Verigrind in. So you start at the back to get your initial angle, and then you move it one notch up, one notch up, one notch up. And that basically rounds off the whole heel, you know, in steps. So that you've kind of got a continuous flowing grind of the heel with removing all that excess material, which, depending on what you're doing, like when you're running down the bottom of a bowl,
Whoa.
it can damage the wood if you've got too much pressure coming behind the cutting edge. You'll actually, you can put ripples and smash the grain of the wood over. And that's a lot of the main reason these guys, you know, cut their heels back on their bowl gouges. This one's I need to redo this, but you can see I got it just cut back a little bit there on the bottom side. So, you know, there's a variety of ways to do it. But yeah, that magnet's a real good idea so that you're not making a new setup block every time you want to sharpen your tools, because the other one's buried in the shavings somewhere.
Yeah, or you vacuumed it up.
Yeah, exactly. Or it blocks up your vacuum system.
Oh. Yep,
Had a bowel obstruction.
that's it.
So. Switch here. Go back to the print. Spotlight off. Okay, so that was the big demo for tonight for this month's meeting.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I enjoyed that.
So, and these other ones here that I make, I know some of you have seen these. We actually did one of these at one of the meetings at the school a couple of years ago. I didn't finish this one. But I made quite a few of these, and I've actually sold a lot of these at little events. You know, they take, depending on, and it takes about an hour. You can, you know, fooling around, not rushing. It takes maybe an hour to make one. And I've been selling them all day long for $35. So it's not bad for an hour's work. And the funny thing is, most of the time, whoever's buying them buys 3 of them from me at a time. I had one lady, I sold 3 of them to her. She said, I'm gonna hang these, I'm gonna glue these to the ceiling.
From New York.
Sticking down from the ceiling.
Yeah, from New York, no less.
Yeah, from New York.
Yeah.
So it's just something fun to make, and it's a, you know, when people ask me what they are, I tell them they're basically a show-off practice piece. Like, look what I can do.
Or a trembler.
Yes, a mini trembler.
That's every time he lights the fire.
I really want to make one of
But
those.
it's been in the.
But to do that, I need to make the string steadies first. So that may be another demo for another day. The only person I know in the club has actually done one that's, you know, of any decent size was Joe Dion made one. And you know, those of us that went to the symposium in Atlanta in,
It
I want
was,
to say
it was just
2016, wasn't it, Dave?
just basic.
Yeah, it was, 2016.
Yeah, 2016. That was
Different things you, as you fly over, you can see the deer running. and you saw
Escalon
a beaver making,
from
you know,
France
swimming
did
across
a demo
the,
on that.
little,
And it was just, you know,
rivers.
everybody in the
Just-
audience was
it's
just
really cool,
amazed
'cause you see all these things from
with
way up,
with those things.
and
And I know you guys, because I've sent it out numerous times, the video of Escalon, where they have the trembler competition, where these guys are making these things, you know, 4 or 5 feet long, and the joining pieces, you know, in between the elements, you know, these
the end, you're like,
sections
are we gonna
in
be
here.
able
The ones on this one here are about 1/8 of an inch.
Look at the.
And the ones that they're doing
You
in the
can see our
competition
yard, and you wanted to see.
are, I
what the head
believe,
would land in.
I want to say 1 point, I don't know if they're 1.2 or 1.8 millimeters, which is about 1/16 of an inch. So it, you know, it gets pretty hairy, and they're all, most of those guys are doing almost all of it with a band. So anybody got any work they want to show?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
You're seeing it's spalted tamarin. Did some piercing and did some maple leaves as I like to do it. Took a little while, but not too long.
Ooh, what do you use to do the piercing again? I
Yeah, say again.
know I've probably asked this before. Preferred tool for that technique.
What do I use to pierce?
Yeah, to do the pattern on the wood. What tool do you use? Is it just a Dremel or?
Well, it's actually like a dental drill. It runs at about 350,000 RPM.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just like a dentist tool. The one I
okay.
use, the one I
It's like
use,
the one on the cable.
yeah, the one I use is straight, but a lot of guys use one that looks exactly like what you would get at the dentist office.
Okay. Wow.
It uses a step down from my compressor.
Yours is air powered, Steve?
Yeah,
Okay.
it runs off my compressor.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah,
a lot
there's
of
there's
patience
a bunch
there.
of different ones, Ozzy, different manufacturers. And they,
Yeah.
some of them are really high speed, you know.
Yeah, that's what this one is. It's about as fast as I've seen.
Yeah.
Key is to when you're making your bowl or whatever, is to thin.
Mhm.
You want thin walls, like no more than an 1/8 inch.
Mm.
Right.
Otherwise, the wood burns inside which I did on this one. I didn't get it thin enough.
Oh,
But yeah, it's a good test of your skills to thin wall things. And then I make a little picture of a maple leaf and draw it on the wood.
oh, cool. All right, thank you.
Oh, sure.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
something. Ralph, I got something. What I tried was, I did some flat sawn and portasawn. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but can you see this article?
Yeah.
So this is how you cut your log. You just, instead of cutting it off in slices like bologna, to turn a bowl, but you can see at the top here where it says B, what I did is I cut off a piece like that. All right. And the reason for doing that is because of the patterns that you end up with. So this is what the piece looks like with the flat sawn. See the different grain patterns in there? It's more than if you just sliced it off.
Of course, you have to have a log big enough too.
Well, this one was like 12 inches by 12 inches. That's probably the smallest one you can work with.
Right.
I got a 14-inch, chainsaw, so that was about right. Or go to Ralph, who's got a 16-inch, you can do a bigger piece. But because it was this end of it, the log going this way, I cut off the end of it. The bark was all over here. So that was different to have the bark on the bottom, then doing a natural edge, have it from the top. That was a big difference. And this was just lacquer sanding sealer and lacquer 50-50. And then after that, the Yorkshire grit and wax. That min wax. And part of that, see, you never know. We're talking about wood, what it's going to be like. The other part of that flat sawn looked like this. I said 2017, but it was really 2019. So after I cut into it, then I found this. This is the one that had all the bark that the critters were eating. And so this is what it looked like once I got into it. I couldn't tell once I cut it. There was just some, small hole here until I still got into it, started digging it out. And that's just too big to put epoxy in to mess with, I think. So I'm just gonna, but the piece I did get, I can use that. And you can see the spalting on it. I don't know if you can see the spalting here. Can you see that? Spalting all along this side. So, you know, this is a piece of mahogany that's good for playing around with finials or just a wine glass. But, you know, you never know. And this wood was there since 2019. And so, I mean, this was the only piece I couldn't salvage, but I got at least 2 bowls out of it and maybe a goblet. And the thing I like about the working with this, it was dry. So within a day, you can do this. You know, turn it, finish it with the lacquer, sanding sealer and lacquer just to put a seal on it. And that dries right away. And just wax it and you're done. You know, so that's what I like about it too. So within a day, you can turn something like this. This is only about, what, maybe 7 inches? 7-inch diameter.
Very good.
That's it.
Yeah, following Ralph's advice, I cranked out a tool handle. Let's see if I can. So it's 2 pieces of wood. This part here is black iron wood, and the butt of it here is macadamia.
Oh,
And I
sweet.
just used a piece of a copper, plumbing fitting to make the ferrule. But
You still got some of that ironwood, huh?
yeah, I still got some of it. This was a piece that I'd planned on making something longer with it, but it was too bent. So, I had to extend it to get this out of it. So just finished off with some lacquer sanding sealer and some wipe on poly. I get to do things like this when my sons buy me Jimmy Clues.
Oh,
gouges,
okay.
yeah.
Buying your
So,
tools?
yeah,
Always nice.
I raised them right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I get something.
So that black ironwood, was that real hard to turn? I've got some yet, Pat, I haven't got into, but was that real
No,
hard?
it turns pretty well. There's a lot of bug damage in some of the bigger pieces of it, but it turns pretty well. Considering how hard it is and stuff. It's
Yeah, it's
I like it.
just under the hardness of lignum. Not quite as hard as lignum, but it's actually heavier than lignum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is heavy. Yeah. Okay.
So next up.
Brian's always got something good.
Sure,
All right.
sure. Yeah, here I got a little mahogany cup. There you go, about like that. And I got a little spalted Royal Poinciana vase.
Yeah, that is spalted.
Yeah. I don't know if
That one looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometimes the spalting on that stuff it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it or not. I still can't decide if I like that that spalting.
It looked like Elvis there for a minute.
Yeah. So anyway.
I like that one side right there. That's beautiful.
That side. Okay.
Looks like a Rorschach test.
Yeah. So and just finish with lacquer. That's all. That's all I get.
That's all you got?
I got something. O'Brien, is that an egg cup?
Yeah, that's an egg cup for
egg
you
cup
got
or
an egg
drinking cup.
Yeah. Oh, I did make a little mahogany out of the end piece there. Always use scraps of wood. So that's it.
I have a friend over in Everglades City who makes his own beer, and he has a bunch of taps for all the different beers, and I get to go over and sample them regularly. So I decided to make him a handle for one of his taps using, my fishing lure concept. Screws in there, and then of course he's got the hook and the eyes and it's his fishing lure. It's made out of mahogany.
Cool.
Fits in well over there.
Oh yeah, it's fish beer.
Yeah, fish beer. I hope it tastes better than fish beer.
Oh, it tastes. Believe me, he grows his own hops, and it's the best home brew I've ever had.
Are the hooks sharp on that?
No, all the hooks. I don't know if you can see, but I always grind all the hooks down and round them off so that none of them are sharp.
Take the barbs off and make them flat on the top.
I take all the I basically round them off with the Dremel, so there are no points, and I get rid of the barbs.
I thought it was like if you had too much to drink, it gives you a warning shot.
Well, that depends on who says too much to drink.
That's it. That's all I got.
When you're flat on the floor and can't drink no more, that's when you've had too much to drink. Actually, just the right amount.
Well, you've died of thirst.
Yeah.
Hey, Ralph, I have something to show.
Okay. Hook you right up here.
So I kind
for
of
it.
went down a rabbit hole with pens, and I started doing custom, what they call custom or kitless pens, because I
Right.
was selling the blanks. So I didn't realize the expense of that little endeavor, because it's literally more. I was talking to Dave yesterday about it. It's like 90% drilling. No, and 80% drilling is the work and tapping, and the rest is the actual shaping. So I've been doing this like straight-sided model, and these are fountain pens, but you can make them roller balls, and basically they're all resin. The only part you buy is the thing that holds the nib, and the nib itself, which is obviously the point, the metal part. And I've been playing with finishes on resin. So I got this one, which is the color doesn't translate, but you can see it better in pictures. It's like a Tiffany glass.
Okay.
And I did it like a matte finish, or frosted, like frosted glass finish. So that was pretty interesting to try to do on resin. And then I have this one, which is like an orange lava color, also fountain. Somebody else made these, but this third one here, I casted the resin. And this came out looking like a type of stone called azurite. Somebody pointed out when I posted the picture, and it's kind of neat. So I've been trying to make these to actually sell, but they're fully custom. But it's the thing that's most interesting is the finishing process for resin. You can ask Dave. I've changed the process multiple times, but you get some pretty impressive looks with it, and they're pretty neat. They're very lightweight. You fill them with ink, fountain pen ink of any color, and there seems to be a lot of collectors that are into them. So hopefully somebody will buy one.
Yeah, he's changed the finish as late as yesterday. His process. But those pens go for minimum $130 up to $179. But I have to tell you the other day, Ozzy, is if you can figure this out, one of the clubs I belong to up in Boca, or up there somewhere, they're pen collectors, and they're really into fountain pens. And they said that, I don't know, Ralph, if you can spotlight me for a minute.
Hold on.
Yeah.
When I first showed them, the kitless pens, do you have me, Ralph, or not?
I'm trying to find you.
You're
right.
on. You were.
Lakeside in the hammocks. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, you're all the way at the end of the line. Oh,
Right.
Jesus. Now you moved. Damn it.
He was on a minute ago.
Keep talking, Dave. That way he sees
I'm
you.
right here, Ralph.
Yeah, talk.
I'm talking. It says I'm talking, but
Well, now I got to find you because you keep jumping all over the place.
I'm not
So
jumping.
everybody keep quiet for 2 seconds.
Ah,
There.
thank you. I was talking to Ozzy, there's going to be a pen show July 16th, 17th, and 18th in the Doubletree. Is that what it is? Ozzy, Doubletree on what is it? Milam Dairy and 836, that hotel there, convention center. They meet there every so often, but they didn't have a show last year. But anyways, when I showed the guys the kitless pen one year, the really hardcore fountain pen guy said they didn't like it. And the reason they didn't like it, this isn't a kitless pen. This is one that someone gave me. But anyways, here's a not real expensive fountain pen, but when you put it in the cap, there's like a rubber insert inside the cap. And what that does is when you put it in there, it stops the nib from drying out. So on those kitless pens, Ozzy, I think when you put them in there, they're not sealed as well. So maybe I don't know how long it would take the nib to dry out. But if you can come up with a way to put some, cap in there,
Put an O-ring.
an O-ring or something, just to,
Yours are threaded, right, Ozzy?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, you thread the resin, but the way to solve that problem on one of these pens is basically you drill out your first bore basically all the way through is 11 millimeters. I'm doing all this in metric, by the way.
Yeah.
11 millimeters, and then you only drill out your space for your section the length that it is. Exactly. So what ends up happening is the part that's wet will be in a part that's basically seals against the shoulder of the section. That's really tricky to do. But when you tighten it down, especially the tolerances that we're getting with some of these taps and dies that are like specially cut just for this process, they stay good. I mean, like they don't dry out. The other thing is a lot of inks have changed from because that's like Dave is saying, it's a big thing, the fountain pen community. A lot of inks are made to stay or not wetter, but they're made not to do that drying. Like you couldn't put like India ink or something that you used back in the day because it would dry out. Not anymore. But there's technique. That's why I say those pens are like 80% drilling and tapping. Is all the work. The shaping and the finishing is pretty much just at the very end. And really the idea is the resin is what shines there. So you don't really have to go, like I said, these shapes are pretty just straight sided. They're nothing out of this world. They're just simple designs.
And they don't have clips on them.
Right. And you can put clips, which that goes into a whole other part of threading a tenon in the back and adding a clip. So you could do a lot. I mean, it's very fascinating to watch like Japanese turners that make these pens, because they thread everything by hand with special tools. And I mean, it's kind of neat. You can look them up on YouTube. If I find them, maybe I'll forward them the videos. There's videos of these guys making these pens they've been doing it their whole lives,
Why don't you send me the links to that and I'll share it with the club if you want.
Yeah, I'll do that after the meeting.
The only reason I bring this up is because I'll tell you, Ozzy is, once he gets into something, he gets into it. Not into turning the casting the pens. He really got into it, and I tell you, he's tried all different ways for sanding and castings, and he keeps refining the sanding. And now he's into these kitless pens, and he's really looking into that. It's just amazing. I just got to give him a thumbs up.
Thank you, Dave. I'm a little obsessive compulsive.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. I didn't like Steve Hurst.
Yeah, well, Ozzy, I am a licensed psychotherapist. I can give you that diagnosis if you'd like to have a chat.
How much are you going to charge him for it?
He's a club member, no problem.
Oh,
okay.
I've already analyzed most of you, so.
Uh-oh. We'll have to talk about that at another time.
Yeah.
So, anybody got anything else? Okay,
Look like Mr. Sigley does.
speak to me.
Yeah, after our last workshop, I went for a hollow, little hollow pot or vase. It's,
Okay.
I think it's pink tabuya or it's an oak. Had a little bit of spalting and a lot of character and a lot of checks, which I filled with the sawdust or sand dust itself and some glue and some character there. Didn't do too good at lining the bottom, but it is a hollowed piece.
Well, just make more.
Practice, exactly, practice. And then I took nip, not for the typical nip piece. I didn't go with the wagon wheel, or I went in between the branches and just made a
Oh, just
bowl.
a piece with no branches.
Right, no branches in
Yeah.
it. And this is boiled linseed oil finish on it. That's it. That's all I have.
Hey, Dave Siegler, what
Yeah.
you posted on Instagram, those little I don't know if they're frames or little hanging crosses. You made those?
Yeah, yes, I did.
You know, I saw them first because I know you posted a picture of the way you recessed the hanger, and I'm like, oh, he made the bottle opener.
No,
And then
no,
I'm
no.
like, oh no, that's not a bottle opener, it's a cross.
Sorry.
I mean, it could be, but that's not the
It could be.
intention.
Right.
But they look very nice. What kind of wood
Thank
did you use?
They are both woods that were taken out of my dad's house when he was remodeling. The body of it is pine from bookshelves we built over 40 years ago. So it's just your lumberyard pine. And the other is closet cedar planks that were put in the house when it was originally built back in the 1940s. So that wood's 80 years plus.
Wow, very nice work.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody got anything else they want to share? Okay, I guess we're done.
Right.
So, like I said, yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, well, questions are free, and sometimes answers cost money. So let's hear the question.
Is there anything about the Ramble?
I haven't heard anything yet. Don't know. Like I said earlier, I had spoken with the president of the Ceramic League, and they're always at the Ramble also, and she hasn't heard anything. So don't know yet. I know that the garden is opening up some. I don't know what their plans are as far as the Ramble. I know that they had an event last year, and Dave Piper has a little more information on it. They approached us about an event that would have, I guess, replaced the Ramble, but it would have cost us an arm and a leg to participate. And it just, financially, it would have, I think, been a total disaster for the club. So you want to put any information on that, Dave, or just leave it at that?
Yeah, plus that, Ralph, the other thing is too, if in fact we did have to charge the members, then you get into, okay, how many people, we have one tent, and let's say we have 10 people that want to sell. And so you divide that by 10. And if someone doesn't sell anything, they end up paying, $90 or 100 and some bucks. It's not fair to those that don't sell anything, But from what I understand too, with the orchid show, they did an orchid show. And what they did was they did it 2 weekends in a row. So they had the orchid show there, and they had a lot of participation. So they're thinking, they said they may use that format going forward. They weren't sure. This was a while back, Ralph, when we talked to them.
Right.
They did the orchid show 2 weekends, 2 weekends back to back. And it was Saturday, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they said the number of people that went for both times were like, more than they expected. A lot of people showed up. So they may try that format for a while, but we'll probably hear, I'm sure, from what I understand, they don't start thinking about the Ramble and what's going forward till about now. So they're probably just starting to think about it,
All right. Well, if you've got is it still the same guy or is he?
Yep, still the same guy. Yep.
Okay.
I talked last time I talked to him. That's where I got this information on the orchid show. I contact him if they're interested. So I touch base with him every once in a while just to tell him to keep him in line, and that's what he tells me.
Right.
We haven't started looking at anything yet. We're just going to start looking into what we're going to do for the rest of the year.
Okay.
That was probably last month. So, make sure he knows we're still here.
Yeah, things, who knows how they're gonna proceed with things now, I don't know how well the actual Ramble's been doing for them the last few years.
We've been doing less than 2,000 every year.
It's been that low?
I thought it was 2,000 less than.
I thought it was more than that.
Oh, okay. But see, what everybody doesn't realize, or, not realize, but it's hard to give them 30% of what we make. That's tough. That's a tough nut to crack. But a lot of the guys that do shows like Rummelard and Lee Sky say, well, you pay 50% if you go to a gallery. So, but
right.
We don't go to galleries, so it's still 30%,
Well, that's true. But the thing is, when you're doing as a show as an individual, okay, I mean, Under the Oaks up there in Vero is, I think it's, I don't know, about $400 to get in that show. So, you've got to, sell some stuff to make money.
Yeah, and just Rummelard, I'm part of the club up north too, and Rumelard's part of that club. And he did say he made 7,000.
Yeah, he did. He did very well at Under the Oaks. My sister, it was her first year. She does clay, and she did over $3,000, and it was her first time in the show.
Yeah.
And then there's also, that particular show. There's 200 artists in that show, so there's 200 booths set up, and I don't know how many, but probably.
Some of the parts of our economy, especially at the top of that list.
All right, we've got their television on in the background.
When COVID-19 pandemic struck, our nation's restaurants were some of the first hit.
Yep.
And the worst.
Where's that coming from?
In 2020, more than 2.3 million.
Try muting everybody.
Jobs disappeared. 2.3 million restaurant jobs disappeared.
Can you mute?
Restaurants are more than a major driver of our economy.
How the hell do I get to mute everybody?
Well, I think they got the message.
I guess. I don't want to, I'm not going to say anything when I recognize that voice.
Yeah, but anyways, the Ramble, what they keep coming back to us is we get, I think, what is it, Ralph? 3 10x20 tents for the sales?
For the sale, I think it's 3 10x20s for the sale. We get a 10x20 for the demo tent, and they're giving us a
10x10.
Did a 10x10,
right?
For the hangout tent in the back.
Right, and plus tables and a couple chairs.
Plus the tables and the tablecloths.
So what they charge a normal vendor is $950 for a 10x20. So we're talking maybe $4,000 there.
Right.
Plus another maybe $100. Let's see, 9, I think it's 3. So, they claim, so that's 4,500, let's say, and we give them 2,000, 3,000 in what we sell.
Right.
So you're better off doing that because you don't put out as much money. But there's no way we can figure out, I don't think we can, how you divide $950 for 3 sales tents amount amongst 10 or 12 people, I don't think that's just not a, I don't know how.
No,
that works.
it's like, the smaller events like Fruit and Spice, the club just pays for the whole thing. And then you donate 10% of your sales back to the club.
Right, and that's 134 for the tent.
Right, and the same deal we got over there at Deering is, cost us, I think, $150 rent. And, anybody that sells donates 10% back to help cover the costs.
Right, and we got
So,
the Native Plant Day. They don't charge us anything, but they take 10%, correct?
well, we give them 10.
We give them 10, right?
That was
so-
our original agreement. We just offered them 10.
So
saying-
those events are a lot better than, of course, Flamingo. I mean, Flamingo. I'm thinking Flamingo. I don't know why I said, well, Flamingo is what they do in Broward. Then that's really a tough nut to crack, because I've gone to them many times as the chairman of the, the Ramble. I say, hey, look, back in the days when Brian did it, hey, we kept the books, and you guys gave us the money and so on. It's no, you kept the books. You told us what we had to pay you. Now we keep the books. Why can't we knock it down 30%? And their comeback to me was, well, if you figure out, the 950 times 4, you really owe us 4,000, and you're only giving us 3,000 or 2,000. So that's their comeback.
Yeah, no, it ain't going to change from 30%.
No, it is. I've tried, I don't know how many times. They used to have meetings when they would invite the vendors, and I always attended with Jay and
right,
and then whoever. I think Ralph may have went to one. I don't know. I think that's when they stopped it after that. But anyways, that's got nothing to do with it.
What?
But
I never went to any of them.
Maybe that's why they stopped it.
No, I was working.
Yeah, but no, that's right. But it's just they just wouldn't hear it. They just wouldn't budge.
No, but like you said, they're getting, if sales are bad, it's costing them money to have us there.
Exactly. But it's just a constant battle with the food trucks and everything else. It's really a hassle.
Yeah, but they cut them out the last time I thought.
Well, but then they put their own truck there. Remember?
Their own truck.
Yeah, they had a truck there the last year we were there that had something to do with Fairchild.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And
they're shooting us in the foot, but
Yeah,
shooting themselves in the foot.
I think it was Brian and I, we put one of our signs on the truck that pointed to where we were, and they took it down. We never found that sign again. But anyways, there's a lot of the background stuff that we do to try and get, but that's, we don't bother you with all that. It's too much of a unbelievable.
Well, they did give us the option of moving down by where the ceramic league is.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they go 1 year, the 1 year we were in the big tent, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. And they moved to Chihuly in there.
And then, but I think at one point they offered us the option of moving to the other end of the park down by the ceramic league, which is down there by the tram station, down on the lake, on the pond. And we decided not to do it because we've always been where we are ever since we've been there, which is from, I believe, the 80s.
Yeah, that's probably easier in and out where we're at than down there by the.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to play it by ear and see what happens.
But I mean, by that, when we were at that, that's where they used to have the weddings, in that tent.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, there was holes in the floor. And if you remember, we kept getting pylons and putting them where the holes were because people could have put their foot through the floor. And after that, they fixed the floor. But
right.
Just too many memories. Yep.
All right.
It was a nicer place. It rained, we didn't get wet.
Well, these times are changing. So what can I tell you?
Yeah. We'll see. So I'm thinking it's changing too. If they still stick to the vendors pay for the tents, I really don't see us having as many tents. If we got to come up, well, we'll see it. When happens, happens. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So I guess with that being said, if anybody doesn't have any, and nobody's got anything else to add or share, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down, and we'll see you at the next Saturday workshop, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right, bye.
Good night, folks.
Good night.